Do the 2025 New York Jets have a wide receiver 2 problem? A lot of people think so. That's definitely been a popular one in the comments and the streams. Wide receiver 2 is the need for this team. Leger Douzable, former Jet, took to SNY post game and said, "Hey, the Jets need to call up Amari Cooper, Gabe Davis, get a wide receiver 2 in here. That's why the offense has been passing offense has been struggling in camp and didn't look so good on uh, Saturday night, albeit what was it, like 5 attempts? So I guess he's judging it more based on camp than those 5 attempts. But Rich Cimini also agreed. Here's what Rich had to say from ESPN.com. Quarterback Justin Fields and the passing offense were out of sync, which is not surprising. They've been sputtering throughout most of training camp. With Fields unable to get the ball downfield to his receivers, Fields completed his first throw, a 4-yard flare to tight end Mason Taylor, then finished with 5 straight incompletions in 2 series of action, a high snap by Joe Tippmann, and a pressure allowed by Armand Membu caused 2 of the errant throws. All right. This is kind of, we're talking about 2 throws here, 2 non-affected throws, one of which was a pass interference. I'm not the biggest Justin Fields, like he's going to be the savior. I think the Jets are probably going to have a bad passing offense this year. But when you really boil down to it, we're talking about 1 missed slant route. But I guess, of course, they're talking about, they've seen this in camp too. So I'm not at camp every day, so they would know better than me. But okay, Fields was 0 for 3 when targeting Garrett Wilson, his old buddy from Ohio State. Yes, the Jets again show potential in the running game, but it's hard to be one-dimensional in the NFL. The lack of legit wide receiver 2 to complement Wilson is one of the reasons why they're not clicking. All right. Yeah, man, wide receiver 2 as a whole. Yeah, sure. If I was doing a 2026 mock draft, that's a spot that we're looking at. Not every spot on the team was going to be solved in the first year. Just my opinion, would I have rathered like the $12 million to Stevens and the top 75 pick to AZ Thomas? I would have rathered one of those 2 things go to pass catcher and live with the likes of Stiggers and JBC plus one of Stevens or AZ Thomas. To me, would have been cool in the cornerback room, and you get another veteran tight end or veteran receiver, or you drafted another pass catcher to triple up with Smith and Taylor. That's fine. And if the Jets want to see whatever Amari Cooper has left in his legs, hoping that he's not the next Mike Williams or Dalvin Cook, that's cool. If they want to peek at the nightmare that I'm sure is Gabe Davis's medicals, given the timing of his release and the dead money that Jacksonville ate to do it, and given the fact that he is a 26-year-old with a solid resume of starting in the NFL and is still a free agent less than 3 weeks before the season, if they want to smash those due diligence buttons, give those agents a call. That's cool. That's fine by me. Sure. If that keeps Justin Fields fan club, pacifies them, then so be it. That's fine. But and this game aside, because whatever, we didn't learn anything. They threw 5 passes. Who cares? But if you're looking at the roster in general, man, at some point as a staff and a quarterback, you have to work with with what you have to some extent. You got top 12 picks at either tackle spot. You got a top 15 pick at right guard. So 3 of your 5 offensive linemen are top 15 picks. You got a center who's a top 45 pick, which is a very high pick for a center. That's typically going to be one of the first 2 centers off the board when you're talking about top half of the second round. And you got John Simpson, who, when he's a free agent next year, he's going to get $16-17 million a year. AVT is going to get $17-20 million a year. So you got a guard tandem that's about to cost $35+ million combined in free agency next year. You got a tackle tandem that was 2 top 15 picks. And you got a center who was, I believe, the first or second center drafted. You have Garrett Wilson, who just signed a $30 million a year contract to be a wide receiver 1 who's got 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. You got Mason Taylor, who was a top 45 pick in his own right. So it's okay to ask Mason Taylor, hey, go out there and catch 48 balls for 525 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns. You got Breece Hall, who is, I know it feels like forever ago, but he's a year removed from being second in the NFL in yards from scrimmage. Breece Hall, who's led the NFL in receiving by a running back before. With Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, who don't seem like slouches behind him. And Josh Reynolds and Allen Lazard, they're not good. They're not good, but they're under 30 and recently have been asked to be starting receivers on good offenses. That has happened. That's just factual. That has happened. I don't know. You got to take up the Lions and the Packers because those dudes were starting on those teams when their offenses were good. So at some point, man, as a staff and as a quarterback, like not every position can be an all pro or a top 15 pick or a $25 million contract guy. Like at some point, you got to elevate what you have, like the Denver Broncos did last year. Who was their wide receiver two? Marvin Mims, some rookie who had like 400 yards or something as their wide receiver two. But the Broncos had phenomenal play calling, very good pass protection, and a quarterback who could move and hit a pass. How about that? I mean, the Washington Commanders, who was their wide receiver two? Was it Olamide Zaccheaus, who had 45 catches for just under 500 yards and 3 touchdowns? They didn't even really have a good offensive line. Jaden Daniels is just that guy, and Cliff Kingsbury can call up some plays. I mean, who was the Bills' second leading receiver? Had like 500 yards. Now, again, of course, I'm not the day those teams have great quarterbacks and established play calling coaches. I understand all that. And if we're being honest, the top teams in the NFL, if you look at points per game, there are a lot of teams who have multiple really good receivers like Cincinnati and Philadelphia and Tampa. But we're not talking about that. That was never going to be the Jets this year. I think we knew that. What I'm talking about is what is the minimum threshold of a supporting cast that will allow you to adequately evaluate a quarterback. And I think having every resource known to on God's green earth expended on your offensive line and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall and Braylon Allen and Mason Taylor and some veteran wide receivers who have started on playoff teams recently. Are we really going to look back at this season and say, what a disaster? You know what? If we only signed Gabe Davis, we were one Gabe Davis away. We're never one Gabe Davis away. We've never been one Gabe Davis away. This, to me, is the most overblown talking point about this team right now. This team, you're looking at a team that is going to throw the ball for 3,000 yards. And 2/3 of that alone could easily come from Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, Breece Hall. Breece Hall has had 600 yards receiving before in a season. Garrett Wilson has had 1,100 yards receiving before in a season. That's 1,700 yards. Like if those guys hit those benchmarks, that's more than half of your passing offense. And we didn't even get to tight end or the other backs or the other receivers. So work with what you have, man. Work with what you have. Like, sure, it's a hole. It's a hole. I get it. That's fine. But let's work with what we have and let's coach up. Let's coach up these players. Because heading into last year, nobody thought anything about Marvin Mims or Zaccheaus. And those dudes went out there and they played their roles. I mean, who was the Chargers wide receiver last year? That first round pick from TCU that their fan base hates. Coach him up, man. Coach him up. And we'll talk ball soon.